the NFL hard cap. Now, I know you read the video title and I know what you're thinking. What does this have to do with winning the Super Bowl? Well, in short, everything. Hello, everybody. My name is Tanner from Fuming Football, and I'd like to take a look at some very interesting trends that I've noticed with past Super Bowl winning teams and how they structure their rosters, specifically the quarterback position. But first, I need to explain how the NFL salary cap works, so if you're a contract expert or an NFL GM, you can skip to this part here. For those that don't know, the NFL and the NHL are the only major American sports leagues that operate under a hard salary cap, meaning all 32 NFL teams have the exact same amount of money to work with and cannot go over that limit. The idea of a hard cap was introduced into the NFL in the year 1994 as a way to even out the playing field and to keep purchasing power equal regardless of the team's market size. The number is officially determined every year in early March before free agency opens up based on last year's league revenue and the agreed upon number of the NFLPA and the league owners. This offseason, the hard cap is expected to be anywhere between $301 million and $305 million per team, which is about a $25 million increase from the 2025 season. Now that we have a basic understanding of how the salary cap is determined and managed, it's time to look at how plenty of teams typically tend to divvy up the pie. Feels like every offseason, we see a new quarterback become the highest paid player in NFL history until that contract gets broken a week later. This is a common trend that's been going on since before the hard cap was even introduced and is a trap that most teams fall into. If you look throughout history to find the highest paid NFL players of their time, you'll see names like Archie Manning, Jim Kelly, and Dan Marino. All three of these guys have two things in common: being the highest paid player in the NFL for at least a year and infamously never winning a Super Bowl. Now, people say the quarterback is the most important position in any sport, but in my eyes, it's the most overpaid and overvalued position in any sport. Now, first I'd like to start by asking this question. What is the number one goal of every player, coach, and fan base across the league? I'll pause the video and give you some time to think. Yeah, it's to win the Super Bowl. At the end of the day, every team is truly trying to work towards hoisting up that Lombardi trophy. Team is the key word there, and I know I sound like your Pop Warner football coach, there's no I in team, but there's some truth to that. I took a look at every quarterback that won the Super Bowl from 2005 to 2024 and compared their cap hits the year they won to the rest of the quarterbacks of that same season. This is a chart of the last 20 Super Bowl winning quarterbacks, the cap hit their team took that year by having them on the team, and their pay rank, which just means how much cap room they were taking up compared to the other quarterbacks of that year. So, for example, Jalen Hurts' cap number was listed as the 16th highest for a quarterback of last year, so his pay rank is 16. Easy enough. Also, for the record, all of these numbers are coming from overthecap.com, so you can fact check it for yourself if you'd like. One odd thing I'd like to note about this chart is the asterisk on the 2010 salary cap. That was because the league technically didn't have one for that year, but it was loosely determined to be $123 million, so that's the number I'm going to go with. Right away, there's a few things you notice. To start, there's only 4 quarterbacks over those 20 years to even crack the top 8 and manage to win a Super Bowl that year. Those quarterbacks are Patrick Mahomes, Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and Eli Manning. Those are the 3 best quarterbacks of the 21st century, and Eli Manning. And listen, say what you want about Eli, but he always showed up when it mattered most. He's a future Hall of Famer, and you know I always gotta rep my boy. But that's besides the point. This trend will continue in this year's Super Bowl when the matchup is between the 20th highest paid quarterback, Sam Darnold, and the 29th highest paid quarterback, Drake May. Now, this Patriots team is actually a perfect example for what I'm talking about. This team spent the most money in a single offseason in NFL history. And in that same year, they made it to a Super Bowl, all while Drake May is still on his rookie contract. You see where I'm going with this? If we were to average out the pay rank for Super Bowl winning quarterbacks over the past 20 years, we're looking at about 11th place. Also, that number was calculated after I took out the outliers being Russell Wilson and Nick Foles, because Russ was a 3rd-round pick on his rookie contract and Foles was the backup coming into that year. For anyone wondering, Carson Wentz was the 28th highest paid quarterback that year, so still very cheap. If you add Russ and Nick, we're looking at about the 15th highest cap hit, but again, after removing the outliers, on average, we're left with the 11th highest paid quarterback in the league. Now, I know this might not come as a surprise to any Buffalo Bills fans who have been begging for a wide receiver one and or some defensive help. My buddy and co-host Danny actually dives deeper into the Bills' management problems in his video on this page that you should go check out. After we're done with this one, of course. But quarterbacks like Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, and Joe Burrow aren't necessarily leaving enough money on the table for their teams to work with. I want to look deeper into Joe Burrow's contract for the sake of this argument. This is easily a top 4 talent-wise quarterback in the league when healthy, and he was in the Super Bowl just 4 years ago. There was an interesting graphic I remember seeing during the Bengals Super Bowl run that showed how they had 8 new defensive starters on that team compared to the year prior. Guys like B.J. Hill, Larry Ogunjobi, Mike Hilton, Chidobe Awuzie, and Trey Hendrickson all joined the team that year. It also obviously helps when you draft a guy like Jamar Chase at number 5 overall, but again, going from the 5th pick in the draft to the Super Bowl in one offseason can more so be credited to their ability to sign new players. They did make the AFC Championship the year after that as well, but haven't come close since. Now, I'm sorry to say this to any Bengals fans watching, but with the current structure of Burrow, Chase, and Higgins contracts, I don't know how you can fiscally rebuild a roster around them. Just to refresh, Burrow was on his rookie deal when they made the Super Bowl. Now, as of the 2025 season, Burrow, Chase, and Higgins contracts accounted for 33.5% of the team's total salary cap for that season. To clarify, that is a third of your team's hard cap being locked up in 3 players out of your 51-man roster. That's not team football. We wonder how a guy like Brock Purdy, the Mr. Irrelevant pick, can make the Super Bowl. Just take a look at the 21 other starters they were paying on that roster. That was a phenomenal team. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't ever pay the quarterback position what they earned, but I am going to say they should be paid a bit more relative to everyone else in the league, not relative to the quarterback market. I'll leave you with this quote from CBS Sports in 2019 about Tom Brady consistently taking pay cuts for his team. Brady has saved the Pats over $9 million per year compared to the highest paid quarterback in the league each season, and nearly $6 million per year compared to the average compensation of the 5 highest paid quarterbacks. That's enough to bring in an extra good player or two each season. No wonder these guys keep winning Super Bowls. If that doesn't tell the full story, I don't know what does. For as much as we like to say it's a quarterback's league, at the end of the day, it is and will always be the ultimate team sport. Thanks for watching.